Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story comes from Glasgow. Thank you to everybody that watched the story about the arson attack that went wrong in Greenock yesterday. And if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link in the description to watch after this one. This story is about the murder of Omar Sadiq. He was stabbed to death on Tuesday in a broad daylight incident that happened in the Pollock area of Glasgow. He's 32 years old and he was taken to Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, where he later died. Police and ambulances went to the scene on Boydstone Road at around 1:25 after locals reported hearing a disturbance. A black Audi was abandoned nearby. Police Scotland said they received a report of a man seriously injured in Boydstone Road on the 15th of September, and the man was taken to the hospital and he died a short time later. Tributes have been paid online for the man that was associated to a lot of Gangland figures. The papers have associated his friendship with Imran Baldy Shahid, whose brother Zeeshan Shahid and Faisal Mushtaq were all sentenced to life in prison in 2006 after pleading guilty to a racist murder in the south side of Glasgow in 2004. In 2009, Sidiq was jailed for 5 years for his role in a gang feud that had links to the Donald killers. So the guys that were responsible for the death of this 15-year-old boy. But the murder that is associated to him through his Gangland friends is Kriss Donald. He was 15 years old and a white Scottish boy. He was kidnapped and murdered in Glasgow in 2004 by a gang of Pakistani men. Some of them fled to Pakistan after the crime. Shahid, Imran Shahid, Zeeshan Shahid and Mohammed Faisal were later found guilty of the racially motivated murder and sentenced to life in prison. This was the first ever conviction for a racially motivated murder in Scotland, and it was cited by 2 newspapers as an example of the lack of attention the media paid to white sufferers of racism as compared to ethnic minorities. It is also suggested the crime demonstrates how society was forced to redefine racism to no longer exclude white people. On the 15th of March 2004, Donald was abducted from Kenmore Street by 5 men associated with a local British Pakistani gang that was led by Imran Shahid. The kidnapping was revenge for an attack on Shahid at a nightclub in Glasgow city centre the night before by a local white gang. Donald was chosen as an example of a white boy from the McCulloch Street area. Despite having no involvement to the nightclub attack or any association to gang activity, Donald was completely innocent. They took him on a 200-mile journey to Dundee and all the way back as well, and his kidnappers made phone calls trying to find a house that they could take him to torture him. They didn't have any success, so they returned to Glasgow and took him to Clyde Walkway near Celtic Football Club's training ground. They stabbed him multiple times and he sustained internal injuries to 3 arteries. One of them was his lung, his liver and his kidney. He was covered in petrol and set on fire as he bled to death. There was a lot of racial tension following this killing, and the police had to intervene in several clashes. The initial trial for the killers, 2 men were arrested in connection with the crime. Shahid was found guilty of the murder of Kriss Donald on the 18th of November 2004. He was the first person to be convicted of a racially motivated murder in Scotland. Another man, Zahid Mohammed, admitted involvement in the abduction of Donald and lying to the police during the investigations, and he was jailed for 5 years. He was released after serving half of his sentence and returned to court to give evidence against 3 subsequent defendants. But this trial was marred by extradition problems. 3 suspects were arrested in Pakistan in July 2005 and they were finally extradited to the UK in October, following the intervention of Mohammed Sarwar, who is an MP for Glasgow Central. The Pakistani police had to engage in a long struggle to capture 2 of the escapees. There was no extradition treaty between Pakistan and Britain, but the Pakistani authorities agreed to extradite them. Government figures were at times alleged to have been reluctant to pursue the case for diplomatic reasons. The 3 extradited suspects, Imran Shahid, Zeeshan Shahid and Mohammed Faisal, were all in their late 20s and they arrived in Scotland in 2005. They were charged with the murder of Donald. They were charged with the murder of the 15-year-old boy. The trial started on the 2nd of October 2006, and on the 8th of November 2006, the three men were found guilty of the racially motivated murder of Kriss Donald. All three of them denied it, but the jury at the High Court in Edinburgh convicted them of abduction and murder. Each of the killers was given a life sentence, and Imran Shahid was given 25-year minimum sentence. So that story is heartbreaking and devastating, and so rest in peace to Kriss Donald, and also rest in peace to Omar Sadiq, and condolences to their families. I really appreciate you joining me today. Please don't forget to share the video and also like it as well. It tells YouTube you support the channel. I really appreciate you joining me today. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.